What's up and welcome back to Interpreting the Stars, where today I'm going to be talking about one of the newer horror films this year called Possessor. And depending on who you ask, it's also called Possessor Uncut. I had seen this one floating around, knew literally nothing about it, and decided to check it out anyway. Never in my wildest dreams would I have imagined what this thing actually is, which is just a load of insanity, to put it lightly. In fact, this film often left me in a state of garboil. Let's get cracking. This review is brought to you by the word of the day, garboil, confusion. Possessor focuses on a corporation with a specialty in assassinating high-profile targets. How do they do this? By mind-controlling those close to the target and making these people do the killing for them. But this is a process that takes a toll on the brain of both individuals, often blending their psyches with one another. This creates unacceptable confusion, which means mistakes can happen, and in Possessor, things don't always go as planned. I want to first start off with the positives found in this film, since I think this is actually one of those rare cases of film where I think it was actually put together extremely well, and I really do mean extremely. However, it wasn't anything that I personally loved or wanted to see again. I really do mean that. There's a lot of amazing stuff going on behind the scenes of this film. First of all, this thing is original. I've never seen anything like it, so it was super unpredictable. I had no flippin' idea what was gonna happen next. This film also has some extremely good acting from all the actors here, who do a great job making this science fiction world feel realistic enough. The concept of mind control to make random people kill others is insanely smart, as is the title Possessor, which is what it looks like to everybody on the outside world. These people are acting completely possessed. The film also has a ton of great editing that'll put the audience on edge, because what the editing is trying to do is convince the audience that these two minds are melding together. Wires are getting crossed, and that's something that our psyche just isn't really able to maintain very well. It's hard to specifically explain how the editing does what it does in this movie. You really just have to kind of see it. Finally, the last thing that I wanted to talk about with the positives just comes down to the mere fact that there's barely any CGI, if there's any CGI at all. Everything looks to be practical effects, which is always really fantastic. They did great work in this movie, and with all the gore that they were going for and the use of practical effects and makeup done in Possessor, it's all fantastic. That being said, I did say that this was a film that I didn't care to see ever again, and that's just because, in general, the movie's simply put weird. It's one of those films that feels like it's an artsy-fartsy situation, because you can tell all the technical marvels that it makes is wildly disproportionate to the storytelling stuff. They wanted it to stand out as something that was made well, and it does, but there were several times while watching this movie where I said out loud, this movie's weird. I think one of the biggest issues the film runs into is that there's no exposition. It doesn't really explain certain things that I think are actually vital. Like, does the world know that this illegal service even exists? Also, if they have to kidnap the person that they're going to mind control, and they do, then why don't they just kidnap the guy that they're supposed to kill him like normal, and make him disappear? Why does it have to be this complicated? Because science fiction is fun? Just a little bit of exposition goes a long way and would have given this film more of an explanation, which is what I truthfully think the movie needed in the long run. So this end score should actually be kind of interesting once we split apart the biased and unbiased scores. Whenever I do this, these scores are often pretty close, because when a movie is really made well, I often enjoy it. In this case though, it's kind of the opposite. When it comes to my technical unbiased score, I've already stated that a majority of the stuff in this movie is really made well from a technical vantage point. Everything from the practical effects, makeup work, extremely unique editing, lighting, color, acting ranges, original concept, everything. It made this film stand out as really good. So this score's 86%. When it comes to my personal bias score though, this is much lower at 70%, because I can still appreciate the work put into some of the stuff behind the scenes, but it was a story that I didn't care for. And as I've said a couple of times now, I thought it was weird. When we average out the two scores together, we come to the final rating of 78%, 78 out of 100 possible stars, or a C+ letter grade. This movie's a bit of an experience. You'll know what I mean when you end up watching it. If you have seen it though, let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section down below. Would you consider this to be an artsy-fartsy situation, or do you actually like the storytelling as well? Let me know, and as for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit the thumbs up button if you enjoy this review, because there's always more like it coming out each and every single day. Hit the subscribe button and bell to be notified when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out.
Dave examines movies we just watch for fun. Davey is the expert. He is the #1. up with us.